I think we all can agree on that, so let's do another one. By the way, the Kosas is my favorite everyday concealer, but if I'm doing full coverage glam shenanigans, I'm gonna use this Hourglass. It is full coverage. Let's watch this blend out. Then we need to grab our E29, the fluffier brush again, just to kind of soften the lines. So you can really see it there. We want to soften that just a little bit. And a fluffy brush means a more diffused, softened application. Ooh, look at how soft that looks now. Ooh. And something I didn't show y'all last time, take a little bit of that concealer. You see how little that is? Let's start here. And we're gonna bring that and kind of add that undertone to our shadow, and then it even blends it a little bit more. If you've never tried this, you have to, but you need the tiniest amount, too much, and we're just gonna cover up everything. And we definitely need a fluffy brush for this application. Let's talk about corrector this time. So I'm just gonna use a little bit, and what I'm using is a liquid shadow. And the reason why is that this is going to completely set. And you'll notice that I only used a small dot. And if you're wondering what color corrector would I use, please, I have so many videos, just search my name and color corrector. Using a liquid shadow underneath a concealer like this one from Hourglass is pretty incredible. And the reason why is because that liquid shadow is gonna completely set and we're not gonna have to worry about it mixing in with this concealer. I also want to keep doing this technique to see how long this concealer is going to last me. I'm very curious. Let's do this liquid blush this time as well. This one's from P. Louise. The shade is Lychee Lady. And I'm just going to smooth this out. We'll still do a powder on top, but this is actually a really great idea if your blush doesn't seem to want to last. Use one that's a little bit lighter than the powder blush that you're going to be applying in a second. And if you've ever wondered where blush on the forehead comes from, you have to think about where the sun naturally hits you on these higher points of the face. So there is a method to this madness. It just has to be a little bit more subtle. So it's really nice that we're blending it in before we blend that concealer. Kosas concealer 9.1 in, and I absolutely loved this as bronzer the other day. Tiny little amount. Let's start to blend out our bronzer. And if you've ever wondered about blush placement, bronzer placement, it's really not that scary, because if you think about it in terms of transition, just like eyeshadow, it becomes a lot less scary. I think we might need a little bit more bronzer this time. I'll come back and add that in a second. I didn't want to overdo it. You can overdo it so quickly, and it's better to not apply as much at first than it is to get wild, and I've been known to get wild. I added a little bit more bronzer. I'm gonna go ahead and connect this and make sure that we're doing pressing motions, and this brush is from the Essential Travel set. And if you hear snoring, that's my critters. I have a cat and a dog. They hang out with me while I film, and they just rest. Now we're gonna take that to the mouth, and then we're just gonna take that down. Even that's satisfying. Now let's take this around our nose, and what we're doing here is we're actually not contouring. The shade's way too warm, but we're warming it up, and we're kind of bringing everything together in terms of this perimeter. Now for the fun part, it's so important to make sure that we're tapping at this stage, any kind of swiping, and we're gonna have absolute patchy chaos. It's also important that we didn't do too much primer underneath here and too much skincare. Start to transition our little blushy moment. See how pretty and seamless that is now? Whee! We're gonna reach for the foundation brush in a moment, but let's just get these tinier areas. If you've ever wanted the smoothest, most seamless blush application, this is how to get it. And then we will top it with a powder blush in a second, but start with a liquid or cream blush like this. Blend it into your concealer. And then the trick to the blush on the forehead, it's not about letting the blush be seen on your forehead. It's about melting it into the bronzer to give it a little bit more of a redness. Because when most of us, when we go out into the sun, our skin turns a little bit more pink, a little bit more red here. And we're wanting that in the bronzer, not just blush on the forehead, unless you want blush on your forehead, and I love that. But that's what this illusion is giving. Switch to our C42 foundation brush. And I'm just gonna let this run so you can see the blend, the transition. Goodness, that's gorgeous. Okay, we don't wanna go too heavy on top of the blush, but we do need to underpaint our bronzer. I love makeup so much, y'all. It is so much fun. I don't even know how long I've been doing it now, but I get excited and I get butterflies to this day when I blend something like that. I think watching powder set concealer like this is one of my favorite things to watch. Look at how fun that is. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. And I always even out that powder on the puff, and then I'm gonna really press in here. That's my cat. Nice. And we'll just start setting the rest of the face. I love this powder too. It's from Nakia Joy Cosmetics. Really good in there. And then I'll just take what's left, kind of set across here. This is also satisfying to watch. And if you're watching me, you're gonna get a tip. So if you've ever found that you might have put on too much powder, it's a little bit light, take your powder foundation and just ever so lightly stamp that to get your undertone back into that setting powder. Just a little bit. Too much and it might start to cover up, but just a little bit is a way to fix that. And make sure that you press it. At this stage, if we swipe, we might run that risk of disturbing things. I cannot stress how important it is to press. I just made that up right there. Now we're gonna add some powder bronzer. It's this one from Kiko Milano. It's so blurring. And this is gonna add just a little bit more dimension. I love this bronzer so much. Now let's top that with our powder blush. This is from NARS. It's the shade Amore. And again, we're gonna add just a little bit of that red tone here. We're not blushing the forehead. We're kind of transitioning and adding some redness to our bronzer. At this point, I'm not risking fallout, so we're just gonna do a liquid shadow underneath here. I think that we should do a pink highlighter. I like to do lipstick and then lip liner, and the reason why is that I'm able to get a really nice blend and definition as I go. I always found this way a lot easier. This just looks so good. Let me know if you want some more videos like this. I'll find some more full coverage options to blend out.